We are out here at Radio Forever Festival 2025 with Mark and John from Negativland.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
We're doing great over
Awesome.
here. How are you all feeling
John.
today?
That's John. Someday he'll talk. Go on, talk.
Great. So, you just got finished with sound check. It sounded really great from what I could hear. If there was one thing that you could describe your sound as, please tell me what you would describe it as.
All the things.
Solve Negativland. ChatGPT, solve Negativland. Yes, it is kind of all the things. We love all sounds and noises and soundscapes and found things and things we make ourselves and things we steal and things we collage with and our aesthetic and a way of approaching particularly performance is extremely impacted and influenced by doing years and years and years of live radio, where we do live sound collage, mixing, improvisational stuff on the air. Started in 1981.
So I heard.
On Over the Edge is the name of the show. Yeah, and it turns out it had this gigantic effect on just how we think of sound, mixing, segues. It's all about, if you do radio, you know, it's all about the segue. And using things that aren't ours to make new stuff out of.
That's great. It's something that definitely made you quite the star in this, stealing the U2 album cover that caused quite a stir for sure.
Yes, it was quite a stir.
Thinking about Radio Forever Fest, you both are not from Bellingham. You have traveled quite far to be here, being from North Carolina and San Francisco. How are you feeling in Bellingham? Have you been here before?
Yes.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really nice here. The more you get the shape of the town and how it's right on the bay, and then you turn around and it's right on the park. And yet, that's one of the biggest food co-ops I think I've ever been in any city.
Oh yeah, ever.
Like the farms are out here, aren't they? It's real food.
Yeah, I've never been in a co-op that big. That was wild.
Just scratching the surface.
But the other thing was, because I did live in Olympia, Washington from 1990 to 2003, so I knew that coming for an event in early August was
a good
idea of when to be here.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty. It's very pretty here.
Yeah.
Do you have any highlights from your trip so far?
Well, we've just been cooped up in the Cowboy Cottage, which is a rental out.
Creating
there's
this show.
There's nobody across the street. The dawn chorus is actually pretty loud. There have been deer. There have been neighborhood dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of really, it's on Rural Avenue, which normally is just sort of a pose, but not here.
Okay.
Yeah. They were not eating the dogs or the cats.
Of course we aren't.
But the
rent-free.
No, this show is, we were kind of workshopping. This is a brand new show we're starting to very, very roughly pull together. So you, Make.Shift in Bellingham, Washington, are our guinea pigs for this show.
We wrote it here.
Yeah, we
it's
did.
Happening here.
We kind of came up with it in the last. I mean, we brought a ton of material and ideas, and had a sort of focus, but the actual pieces, how they come together, and in fact, a whole bunch of the music just got written yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
So I don't know how well I'll remember any of it, but we'll try our best.
Get up there. So you have toured quite a bit in your time.
On and off.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any tour memories that you want to share?
John?
I just remember the videos that the other members of the band took of themselves backstage before I joined.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's a good thing they were taping.
Well, there was that's too that's too many years of doing this that I can't. I mean, we've also gone years and years without touring. I mean, I personally can't stand touring. It's just I don't.
I'm quite fond of it.
Yeah, he is. He's wired differently. But I'm very into what happens when we bring an audience together and we do the weird thing we do with other people. There's something about that is so compelling. Mm-hmm. And having worked, with the group, there's more to the group than just us two. There is a kind of a telepathic mind meld thing that happens after so many years and years and years and years of working together that is really
decades.
It's special, and you can. yeah, we can improvise and hope, and often improvise where you'll think it was something we planned out, and that's only things I couldn't possibly have done in the early years.
Well, improvising is everything you know, and after you get to be incredibly old like us, hopefully improvising means more. But it gets harder and harder to make mistakes. Yeah.
I remember someone who flew all the way from New Zealand to come see us perform in San Francisco. That was in 25 years ago, and that blew my mind.
It's not us.
Yeah.
It's not us they're coming to see. It's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, there is very much the feeling of we've never made a big deal of who's in the group. Our publicity photos, you can't tell what we look like. We don't make it. You can figure out who's in the group if you really want to, but we don't make our bio doesn't even mention it. And because we don't care. It's the focus is on the work and the idea. And even though we've had members now die, there seems to be the idea of it and the meaning that has to people is bigger than any one of us.
And they're still on the band because we have them on tape.
Yeah, we just collage with all the dead people in our group. It kind of works. We didn't plan it that way, but it works amazingly well. It actually feels like they're with us, and because of the way we appropriate, it's as if they just went around the corner.
We just asked them what they would do, and then we unpaused the tape, and
there they were. Yeah.
And they're still with you, and they're still talking, and
yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think at some point enough of us will die that it will finally end.
Oh, it's gone after you're gone, dude.
Yeah.
You're
if I go, but I think if the weatherman goes, I don't know that we can. I don't know.
Don't die.
Yeah. But there is yes, you're getting way more answers than you even asked.
No,
but it's true that there's
Does
a
that
point.
answer your question?
There is a point. When was it? Maybe in the early 90s when I remember saying, Don and I were talking, and I said, it just it's still going. It kind of just looks like it's just going to keep going. And he said, yeah, I think it's just going to, we're in it. This is what we do until enough of us are dead, And so, yeah, there was just a moment when you realize, I don't know, I always wondered what I always thought by the time you got in your late 20s, you sort of figured out what you were actually doing in your life. And one of the great things about being sued by Island Records and U2 was that it really did help me sort of recommit to my confirm my vows and sort of realize, this thing that I've been doing since I was 17, while I've been thinking I was going to figure out what I'm actually doing, this is what I'm actually doing. This is it. And I ended up with this remarkable group of incredibly annoying, strange, creative people. I'm also incredibly annoying to deal with too, believe me. And that all seem to be committed, even through the bickering and the ups and downs, committed to the idea of what came out of all of us together. That there was, you could see the sum is greater than its parts. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Well, please
ask him a question. I shut up.
All right.
Good.
Sorry.
No, all good.
I shouldn't have coughed right into the mic. Sorry.
You're doing beautifully, darling.
Oh, sorry.
Well, in all of that, so many things that you just talked about, but I'm really interested too, just in because you're playing a show today about audiences and how can people make the show more memorable for you, or not for you, but just for what makes a show memorable?
Well, I got into Negativland because there was a weekly radio show, and I started playing it really young. And the weird thing is, even listening, should I wait? Listening to the Negativland radio show growing up, you'd be alone in your room by yourself. I was 15, but you could feel the other people out there listening, and you felt like you were a part of the show. And then when I started playing the show, what was even more amazing is that you could psychically feel the audience out there listening, even though you were there in a studio with only a couple of other people. And it took a long time to get used to being actually in the room with people. It actually felt too much. I preferred the conceptual but real audience. But the whole point of this entire music thing is actually, it's just all an excuse for people to get together in person. And, it's actually always just the soundtrack. It's the thing that's everybody's listening to, so that later on they can all think they're talking about the same thing, or even hopefully maybe even actually be talking about the same thing because of the music. And so I try to remember every concert. That's the best I can do for an answer.
No, that's great.
These last shows we've been doing through 2024, it really, because it's still this incredible struggle to do what we do and to keep going, to make it work financially and time-wise.
My
and
knees.
And my knees, and now, our backs are hurting. And,
my toe.
yeah, but it never feels like, hey, we got this. We've been doing this for over 4 decades. No, never. And also we keep, our shows are more and more, we change things up. We take more and more risks in how we approach performing. There's within the structure of any show we do, there's space for enormous amounts of improvisation. If John decides to take a piece in a completely new direction that he's literally never done ever before, I just roll with it.
It's your fault.
It's just like it's allowed. That's allowed. And so the idea is we really want to keep it. If we're still doing it after all this time, we don't want to be a jukebox. We want to be keeping it real for us, and we feel like the audience can sense that. Like we're really, so our shows.
Well, even if a recordings, we think of them as the same thing, or that every time you play a recording, it's the same thing. But you play that same recording with 40 people there. It's different than when you play it with 200 people there or 4,000 people there. Like the recording is different every single time it's played. So if anything, what we're trying to do by improvising with recordings in front of people, it's showing people that recordings almost don't really exist the way that we think of them. They are, they're just basically the opportunity for the music that requires everybody to be there. So
That's very poignant. Appreciate
something
that.
like that.
That's beautiful. I think that's a lot of the idea of like Negativland and what you're kind of bringing here, and I think that's really important for just like radio and the festival and all of that. So
radio succeeded before, like recordings existed for many years, wax cylinders and then like shellac, but like it wasn't until radio took off that people started feeling okay listening to speakers. And the reason why is because with radio, the promise was the voice coming over the air was a live, real voice somewhere else. Mm-hmm. It was real. It wasn't it wasn't dead. And even now with listening to recordings, there's still that sense, like the promise is that you're not listening alone. And radio is pretty good.
Well,
you're not alone.
When we were doing shows in the early 80s, it was really perplexing to people because there was no understanding of, what we were doing on there with knobs and switches and all these things. And one of the reasons I started playing bass on stage was simply because there was something to look at. But now, DJ culture and all of that whole world has gotten people tuned into, I am going to go watch someone who's performing and they're just doing a thing on a laptop, which I personally would.
You never learned hotkeys. Oh,
yeah,
the mixer's hot.
Yeah,
the mixer. Oh, hot.
Yeah, John's got all iPads and iPhones and more software based, and most of my setup is all actual things with knobs and switches and all that. So it's a mixture of both, and I like that. I lean more that way, but also I think for the audience, you can see. You may not know exactly what we're doing, but I think you'll be able to tell when we're performing, like, they're actually doing this. And the other thing I was going to mention is they're actually doing it.
Very helpful.
But from the very first show we ever did, there was no way for us to replicate what we were doing in our bedrooms, in our little studios. It was impossible. So from the very first show we ever did, which is in the summer of 1980, it was like, what can we do live with all our noise-making devices that it sounds interesting, that we like, and that we can sort of do it on stage in front of people. And that became the way we've done every live show ever since. It maybe 5% of the show could be a piece that's from a record, but it's almost all of it is created for the performance. And I realized inadvertently, our audience kind of knows that. Like, I think they're not. I've never heard anyone coming to our show being disappointed because, oh man, you didn't do all those songs from your albums from the 80s, and so though we will be doing one thing tonight that is from there will be one thing that is from an album from the 80s.
You heard it here.
Yeah, it's true.
Keep your eyes open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't played it since 1993. Really, though there was this sort of version in London, but
no, we've done that. We've done it many times since '93.
But no, not like this. Not with me playing the actual riff. Anyway.
That's true.
Anyway.
That's true. That's what matters.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that we're specifically excited about playing a festival called Radio Forever at Make.Shift?
Because it's radio and it's forever.
Yeah, we just agree.
Beautiful.
No, but I will say that part of what was for us was perfect that you all asked us to do this is because we have been really stumped given the direction our country's now going in. We really have been. We've thrown out what we were doing live before. We were like, what do we do now that feels like an appropriate creative response, that's meaningful, that, I don't know, it has utility? I don't know. We're trying to figure that out. And we often work with an artist named Sue Seed, who does visuals with us. The fact that we were approached about doing a radio show in a radio festival, I thought, oh my God, this is perfect. We can use this as a way to figure out what we're doing and workshop this new material, and we have an excuse that there's nothing to look at because it's radio. So thank you for that excuse, Make.Shift.
We are so glad to provide that for you. So we know that Over the Edge radio is like kind of a thing that you're still doing to this day, but definitely, definitely started before you and like just so long ago. So I actually was wondering, for both of you, if you could start over and just start a radio show now, what would you feature on your broadcast?
Probably just insect sounds. I don't know.
That's been done.
Three Sons, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, Mark likes a band from the 40s, 50s called the Three Sons.
I love the Three Sons. Look them up, people. The Three Sons. They have not been really discovered, and you can still find their albums for cheap.
They've sold millions of records.
No, but nobody. They're not. They somehow haven't been quite discovered by that.
They have about 3 or 4. They're pretty geeky for the ironic culture scene.
Oh, they're good. Every album they made, almost every album is good.
They've got about 3 or 4 good ones. Yeah.
Totally disagree.
Ruth Welcome. She's my 50s kitsch pick. She plays psychedelic harp. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
I'd play tons of Ruth Welcome through reverb.
Oh, this was so great. Yeah, it was this beautiful, cheesy, wonderful harp record from the 60s, but he put on this incredibly gigantic, swelling, lush ambient reverb, and the combination of it was like 60s music, cheese ball, Brian Eno ambient, all like mixed together. It was great. I think it's going to be our new pre-show music when we play shows.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. My main advice is get a DJ mixer that lets you like listen to all your CDs or media pitch down 50%, and definitely have a reverb in your playback circuit, because everything sounds good half speed through reverb.
Yeah, do you have any other general advice for younger radio DJs or just like musicians about how to get your start, how to do what y'all do?
Well, no, because our advice would be to not follow any rules or advice about how you do anything.
It's like Negativland is taken totally for granted by any 8-year-old with TikTok, like learning Adobe Premiere. TikTok is Adobe Premiere for 8-year-olds. It's every lesson that this band called art is now just talking to your friends online when you're 8. So, we should stop.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that basically what were avant-garde, appropriation-based art practices in the 50s and 60s and 70s are now what you can just do when you're a kid on TikTok, or anyone who's fooling around making stuff for YouTube. It's just what we're doing isn't so weird anymore at all. So how that could translate into... I meet people actually fairly often. I'll hear from people from different low-powered radio stations and community radio stations who will say, yeah, we do a show that's kind of sort of a bit inspired by Over the Edge and what you guys do. Like, we take it on our own, we do our own thing with it, but you definitely helped plant that seed that you could approach radio in a different way than just one song after another.
The difference, they call them live streams now. The difference is it live? Is the voice coming over the speaker actually out there somewhere right now? would they pick up the phone if you called them? These are the things that are distinctively radio and not just media.
That's why I love when I'm hearing community radio and people are popping their P's or they don't understand. They have the mic like they're way, like they have it way off. They don't realize, and you can just hear them in the room and it's all, but there's something about the fact that it's they
Hi,
haven't
this is
got it
Doug
right.
on the Fox News Skycam. Boy, there are a lot of people protesting down there. Wow. Yeah, I know I'm on the air. Yeah, I'm reading your comments right now. Yeah, there's more people than you think there are. Here, let me turn the camera. Yeah, oh my God. Here comes the tear gas. It's amazing.
Here comes the tear gas, indeed.
It's amazing, yeah. But yes, radio's how a community speaks to itself, and love, how's that?
That was. I think that
we
was
got it.
very.
Right? Radio, it's how a community speaks to itself.
You've heard it here. So that being said, are there any community radio stations y'all are tuned into right now?
Well, WFMU. I live in a little town of 800 people, and we have a low-powered FM station, WART Radio. And yeah, so I listen to that when I'm driving around in my car all the time. I love it. Especially like Scott has a death metal show at 3 p.m. It's not really my thing, but the fact that he does, it's his passion. He loves it, and the fact you're hearing black and death metal at 3 p.m, I think it's fantastic. I love it.
It's the community speaking to itself. That's what your community wants.
WART,
3
Marshall,
p.m.
North Carolina. Yeah. So that's been one of my personal. Yeah, how do you like your station?
KZAX?
Yeah.
Oh, we quite like KZAX.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of different things. We're looking for a polka show right now.
That's awesome.
We're hoping. Yep. There used to be one. It left.
Okay. I'm a big fan of polka.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, we
and
miss
anything
it.
with
We miss it.
accordions and a 3/4 beat, that's pretty good.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's a lot of great shows on KZAX that I feel like y'all would really appreciate. KZAX.
Yeah.
Is that the way? Is that the cool way to say it?
KZAX. You know it.
KZAX.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to maybe say KZAX when I'll do a station. We're going to do a couple of station IDs as part of our show.
Oh, do you want to do one right now?
Sure, but we have baked them in. It is baked in. We're taking it seriously that we're on the radio tonight.
I appreciate that, actually.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Not
be
a
really
podcast.
beautiful. No, okay. Well, Negativland, thank you so much for coming out and being part of Radio Forever Fest. We at Make.Shift are so excited to see your set and see what's going on, and I'm sure the community here is as well.
It's just a bunch of knobs being twiddled. Come on. What is there to look at? It's radio.
It's radio.
My last question for you is there anything that people should keep their eyes and ears open for in your set?
ChatGPT 5 is significantly less deceptive.
Yep.
Okay. And thank you.
But it's completely insane.
And action. Cut. KZAX, KZAX, 94.9 LP FM. It's. What time is it? What time is it? Tell me. What? It's 7:05, and you're listening to Over the Edge tonight with our special guest, Negativland. And we're live from some alley in Bellingham, Washington, where there's nothing to look at except some guys in the band twiddling their knobs and stroking their iPads.
Yes, I know.
Tonight's episode of Over the Edge is brought to you by the fine folks at Make.Shift Art Space, the city of Bellingham. How did that happen? And the Bellingham Tourism Board. And there is seating, and it's just like on the bus. If you're seated and you're young, you have to give up your seat for an elderly Negativland fan.
1 or 0.
All right, here we go.
Machines ready. Machines ready. Machines. have been devised for just about everything, but no one has yet been able to make a machine for collecting money.
Why are you unhappy? Me. Why are you unhappy? It's very difficult for all of us. Difficult to understand that it's very difficult for all of us. It's possible that other people don't process information that we seem to have. The basic misassumption is that it's very difficult for all of us because we all have brains and they seem to be the same. Why are you unhappy? Think though, you're hearing this wonderful music. Or perhaps we could say it's very difficult for other people to understand all of us. You have different ways of thinking. You eliminate everything except for one answer. Me. Well, it could be this. It's either this or that. Me. In the metabolism of thought. When you allow yourself to be confused, when you're kind of confused about something, all of us can't imagine. Well, it could be this or that. Why are you unhappy? Well, I wonder what would happen if you allow yourself to be confused. Well, I wonder what would happen if we can't. Well, I wonder what would happen if we can't.
So, let's melt the North Pole. What? Melt the North Pole? Well, Congress once considered the idea. And really, it wasn't such a bad idea. Except for one or two little things. We'll read about it. Read with me. Idea. Warm. Melt. Weather. Thought. Idea. Melt the North Pole. The albatross passed along the idea to Congress.
Virtually nothing impedes the solar radiation as it streams through the cosmic void.
Carefully study the word idea.
For example, the large and almost constantly flying albatross,
Idea.
which induces a voltage in another loop.
The freezing waters could be pumped out of the Arctic,
As it applies torque to the viscous mantle,
and the warm Gulf Stream could be pumped in.
constantly violated by living organisms.
Warm.
Arboreal invertebrates feed on fungi.
Warm.
Frogs feed on invertebrates.
Warm.
Snakes feed on frogs.
Melt.
And birds feed on snakes. We now eat potatoes partly made of oil.
On the other hand,
Long-distance transport,
melting the North Pole could involve changing the weather of nearly the entire Earth.
We drink the same water.
We drink the same water.
So let's melt the North Pole. All right. Theory can be dangerous, but also moist. Melt the North Pole? Well, it's far from the worst idea ever concocted.
often with cooling or refrigeration, quadrupling the energy costs of agricultural production.
And the United States Congress itself at one time thought carefully about doing it.
When you flip a light switch, it is increasingly likely the electrons performing those tasks originated in another country. The universal tendency towards heat, death and disorder
We may drink a good deal of liquid and not easily satisfy our thirst.
became perhaps the grandest of all cosmic generalizations. Indeed, inevitability keep the nuclear option open to yield a strong pulp, the fibrous residue, remaining after the expressing of the sweet juice from the gaseous fuels due to the soiling of leading blade edges by swarms of summer insects, the well-documented risks to migrating birds pitted by abrasive airborne particulate matter.
Liquid increases the thirst until that painful thirst becomes unbearable. Is this sentence true or false?
This is impossible, and this is possible. Both
Survive.
these statements mean the same. This is an interesting equality.
Survive means live at sea. True. Change the weather of nearly the whole world.
Why are you unhappy?
Ready? Congress decided to try to melt the North Pole, harm Siberia, harm Alaska, harm nearly the entire world.
We need the water more than you do.
But it is perhaps even more dangerous than interesting.
We need the water more than you do.
Yet it is not entirely foolish,
We need the water more than you do.
for these regions would then lack that which made them moist.
We need your water.
Thrust.
We need your water.
Thought.
We do not drink your water.
Thought.
We use your water to think.
Thought. 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 That concludes this lesson.
Yes, I know. That's just a metaphor.
The whole experience of being hit by a bullet is very interesting.
Free speech is a right-wing cause. When did that happen? I can tell you the moment it happened.
You've had a chance to study your images. Could you even believe that you captured that one image of what appears to be, one of those bullets?
It was one of those moments. I obviously didn't know it. Obviously, the first pictures I wanted to send were the ones showing him defiant and coming off.
It was that near assassination.
And alive.
Where,
Why are you unhappy?
I don't know how lucky you've been, but if you've been lucky, you have never been in a place where bullets are flying. You think you're a hero until that moment, and then you hit the ground and you make like a pancake.
If you are telling the truth about the world, then you are going to make right-wing art.
So I sent those, and then it dawned on me. It was like, oh my gosh, I think I was taking pictures while he was, while this whole thing happened. You actually have an image of the bullet passing behind his head.
And here's a man who not only was being shot at, but had been hit. Stood up, told the Secret Service agents, just press this in mind. You people have knocked my shoes off. I'm gonna put on my shoes. A lot of courage. Just basically physical courage. Incredible coincidences keep happening all around him. Completely defy the laws of probability. The fact that the bullet missed him. The fact that the bullet missed him. That image. That image. Where he's standing there shaking his fist on destiny. And he's got those Secret Service agents. And there's a flag in the back. What are the odds of that thing happening? What are the odds of that thing happening spontaneously? What are the odds of that thing happening spontaneously? No wonder people think it was acted, right? No wonder people think it was acted, right? No wonder people think it was acted, right?
Insufficient data for meaningful answer.
Can uncertainty be tolerated? Can uncertainty be tolerated?
At this time, I'd like you to observe the sacred space we are currently sharing. And at this time, within this circle, I would like to gently invite you to physically assault the person standing next to you. This time, I'd like you to observe the sacred space we are currently sharing. And at this time, within this circle, I would like to gently invite you to physically assault the person standing next to you.
Vote for me to prescribe the sum total of all aggregate choices of many brains and the fate of all genes, genetic rules, and human culture. Vote for me to prescribe the sum total of all aggregate choices of many brains. Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever.
Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever.
At this time, I'd like you to observe the sacred space we are currently sharing. And at this time, within this circle, I would like to gently invite you to physically assault the person standing next to you. Ending.
It is not the case that something is a golden mountain for language to remain useful. It must remain ambiguous, for its true purpose is to communicate experiences to those who have not experienced them. The purpose of living is to live forever.
Why are you unhappy?
And to change the past.
The eco-computer's multiple personality disorder has trained all human perception upon the artifact of a deranged global hallucination. Chwaiko is dewe hoi hoi sai daiwaha chiahak deo hiri this chwaik sayahak kaya hois.
I'd like you to observe the sacred space we are currently sharing.
For its true purpose is to communicate experiences to those who have not experienced them.
And at this time, within this one, I would like to gently invite you.
Hyothiofer.
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 Hyothiofer. Fuck you chase up sayahak kaya hois.
The eco-computer's multiple personality disorder has trapped the human race within the interstices of this deranged global hallucination.
I think you mean dissociative identity disorder. No.
Compute is confusion so compare mathematical pattern of syntax for an animal vision necessary property password substance animal TRFB SHDHRB FHA UHR SJRY FHD.
One and only one thing is F, and everything that is F is G.
32 oi chwaik jakasklo si doi hoi hoi sai dio hachi hawk deo hidi this chwaik fuck you chase up sai hawk kai hois.
DH2 feel because you yak wake up like a father one go feel Coco boy lady hoy free spec gentler detail and some plot recurs. I showed an actually vital quote to make for because
Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever. Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever.
Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever.
Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and all human culture forever. Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and human culture. Vote for me to control brain aggregates, genetic rules, and human culture.
Affects the representation of a non-articulated part of the world to physically assault the person.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Why are you unhappy? Why are you unhappy?
We all know the answer. We all know the answer.
That's with the legs on these. Oh, that's because this one doesn't have it.
The egg
He was playing.
came from a chicken. And that chicken came from an egg. Which came from a chicken. Which came from an egg. Which came from a chicken. And that chicken came from an egg. Which came from a chicken. Which came from an egg. Which came from a chicken. Which came from an egg. Which came from a chicken. And that chicken, or any living being for that matter, came from an egg, which came from a chicken. And that chicken stays alive. And in particular, stays alive long enough to produce eggs. Which came from a chicken, which came from a conduit for taking in low entropy energy, which came from a chicken's energy source, the food. And that chicken came from the sun. We all know this intuitively. If we follow the food chain, we ultimately come upon animals, like me, that eat only chicken. So where did the diffuse cloud of gas come from? It likely formed from the remains of older stars. Where did the diffuse gas responsible for these early stars come from? Almost always a brain, from which living beings extract the energy they require, which came from a chicken that stays fit. The egg, a brain world, takes in just about as much energy in the form of food as it gives back to the environment.
and we still have no insight into what happened at the very beginning of the universe. The sun formed about 5 billion years ago from an initially diffuse cloud of completely empty space, which came from an egg, which is given back to the environment, which came from a single harmonious theory, which the plants used to grow and flourish. They believed that it was still a part of reality. We can't, but its meaning is clear. And that's a problem that can be modeled as dots that are indivisible and that have no size and no internal structure, shaped like a little chicken. The details of all this are challenging to grasp fully, but don't let that obscure the main point. Our most refined theories of the origin of the universe came from an egg. Our most refined cosmological theories came from a chicken. Tell us, might the universe as we know it be a brain? Nothing but an enormous brain. What in the world does that mean? The current order undermines the very reasoning on which it's based, and we are unable to access the universe's earliest moments. And you may well be right. Is it possible? Is it possible?
Why are you unhappy?
We all know the answer.
I don't think it's right. I think it's wrong. I think the government should step in and conscript it, make cards out, fingerprint everybody, picture them, and then